Hey everybody, Michael Snyder, California Weather Watch. Today is December 9th, and right now we are looking at the infrared satellite imagery. You can see the state of California right here, just some high-level clouds and maybe some fog for some of the lower elevations. But the big weather story coming up here is the extreme fire danger here. The Santa Ana winds are going to be blowing some low relative humidities and some very strong winds leading to some extreme fire behavior possible, particularly dangerous situation. I want to go ahead and bring this in here because this is the day 2 outlook here, and you can see we do have this extreme risk. And if I zoom in there, you can see it includes places like Simi Valley or Thousand Oaks. There's Palmdale still in, I believe that is called the critical risk, and you can see the Los Angeles metro is right here, largely out of the fire danger area. But you never know how these fires will end up spreading. You can see it does include portions of Anaheim, Santa Ana, Corona, Riverside, go down towards San Diego, and you can see just off to the east, you can see Lakeside is right there, and there's Oak Grove. So we'll dive into that a little bit here. I'm just going to go ahead and close this out, and we'll just move on to the next slide. Quickly, we do have some fog out there. For example, Fresno, 1.5 miles, but it doesn't look too bad right now. Modesto looks like 2.5 miles. So the fog isn't too big of a deal, although we have the high wind warnings. They are now in effect here because this situation is going to be unfolding here, and it's going to be probably at its peak as we go through tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning, peak fire danger here across Southern California. Right now, we still have some degraded air qualities out there, and nothing too extremely bad, but you can kind of see it across some of the San Joaquin Valley. It looks like the Bay Area has improved a bit, and you can see some stagnant air across maybe Las Vegas and portions of Arizona as well. No storm reports. We've been pretty quiet here the last couple of days, but look at the wording here from Los Angeles National Weather Service. Again, extreme and life-threatening fire behavior, gusts to 80 miles per hour, down trees, power outages, very low relative humidities, hazardous crosswinds, and you got to be really careful. No outdoor burning for the next few days. Stay tuned to your local forecast. This goes from tonight, 10 p.m. Monday to 2 p.m. Tuesday. Again, particularly dangerous situation. Take action here. Do not don't even take a chance with, trying to burn something outdoors or anything like that. People dragging chains or throwing cigarette butts out of their windows and whatnot. It can really get nasty here really quickly. And they do have some pretty strong wording here. Again, a very strong offshore gradient, some very gusty winds, and some rapid drying of the fuels out there will just be contributing to these extreme fire dangers. And we do have the high wind warnings in effect here. You can see gusts to 70 miles per hour, probably locally 80 miles per hour as well. And this goes through about 1 p.m. Tuesday. I did want to point this out. We do have the fog advisories here across from Hanford, California as well. Not too big of a deal there. This is Las Vegas. You can see some of these stronger northerly winds coming down across the region. Las Vegas is right here. Not quite as gusty as if you go off a bit to the south and east. And this is Northern California. We're not expecting anything like what we're going to get across Southern California, but still some gusty winds out there. You can see this is the National Weather Service, Sacramento. This goes on into about Tuesday morning. And also on the flip side of this, we do have some potential active weather moving back in here. You can see even the Bay Area talking about it. I'm going to show you the weather models on this here in a moment, but impactful rainfall later this week incoming. There's San Francisco. We have a chance for some flooding concerns even with the second system rolling in here. But first things first, let's take a look at the relative humidities. And as we go through the day today, you can see the wind start to flow there as we go through tonight and into tomorrow morning. Look at this dry air just pour out over the coastal areas there. And as we go through the day Tuesday, these very low relative humidities. And these winds are going to continue offshore as we go on in through the day Wednesday. So any fires that do start are going to continue to be fed by some of these offshore winds. Even though they do lighten up a bit as we go through the day Wednesday, the relative humidities are going to be very low, and of course any fire that's ongoing at that time could have some extreme fire behavior associated with it. Looking at accumulated 10-meter max wind gusts, you can clearly see the terrain features and the favored locations for some of these stronger winds. Now we're scrolling on in through the day Tuesday, and look at some of these very intense gusts here out of the east here and northeast across some of Baja down towards San Diego off into the higher terrain just off to the east. And you can see the typical Santa Ana gap winds just gusting potentially up over 60, 70 miles per hour as we go on in through the day Tuesday. And again, the winds will be lightening on Wednesday, but they will still be out of the north and east and very dry. So that could continue that fire behavior if anything does get set alight. Now, Well, what drives this here is this high pressure that settles down across the Great Basin. As you can see, as we go through this evening, here we are about midnight tonight. Look at the high pressure, and it's kind of settling in over the Great Basin, and that's what drives these powerful offshore winds. The tense pressure gradients here in the northeast winds just drive out towards the coastal areas here. So that finally relaxes as we start to head off in towards the day Wednesday, although they will still be blowing a bit. But then you can see that pressure gradient really relax as we get through Wednesday afternoon and finally get past this event. Now, taking a look at the corresponding wind speeds here, about 2,500 feet, 925 millibars, a little bit off the surface. You can see them eventually start here as we go through the day today out of the north. So this is not very far away. This is actually right now. We're already getting these gusty northerly winds across some of the desert areas, Las Vegas, and then you can see them start to pour and push out across Southern California. And look at them just absolutely get howling. By the time we go in towards tonight, there's midnight here and through Tuesday morning, these winds are just going to be absolutely ripping out of the north and east, known as the Santa Ana winds, and look at them extend all the way down across the Baja Peninsula there as well. And again, just kind of driving home that point that through Wednesday we're still going to be dealing with those offshore wind conditions, because just because the winds lighten up doesn't mean that any fires that are raging out there are just going to all of a sudden be able to be extinguished easily. You're still going to have those gusty winds go through probably the afternoon on Wednesday. Now let's take a look at the extended forecast, because we have some active weather potentially rolling in here. And I want to scroll through as we go through the day Wednesday. You can see the initial frontal system rolling in here very late Wednesday night and on through Thursday mornings, and when this first system arrives. It does bring some meaningful rainfall here, mainly Bay Area north, trying to work its way down towards the Central Coast, maybe northern portions of the San Joaquin Valley. Some precipitation occurring there. But then a stronger storm arrives off the California-Oregon border, we'll call it. Then it moves up towards the Pacific Northwest. But look at this frontal system packing a punch. This could bring some flooding concerns here. Some intense precipitation rates with that frontal system are possible as we go through the upcoming weekend. And you can see once it rounds that Point Conception there, it doesn't bring much precipitation down towards Southern California. We're still looking for the first impactful storm to get further down into Southern California. That next system here as we go through the following week might bring some precipitation. We'll have to see how that trends. That's no doubt going to change back and forth, but then you can see we kind of dry out here through the extended forecast. It wants to kind of put a stagnant look at things here across the west coast of North America off through the extended fantasy forecast. We're not going to worry about that at this point because we have several systems that could bring some interesting weather, as you can see, as we go through the upcoming weekend and maybe on in through the early portion of next week as well. So that's something fun we will get to watch. Let's take a look at the GFS and see if it agrees. There's that initial system. Again, as we go through the day Wednesday and Thursday, again, pretty good agreement there with the European, as you can see. Maybe some down towards the San Joaquin Valley. First round of snowfall there also. I'll show you the snowfall totals in a minute. But then the next system arrives during the weekend. Not quite as robust as what the European was showing, but it does show it. Notice that. And then we scroll off into the future, and then maybe another system early next week. We'll see how that trends in the upcoming days. Total precipitation in inches on this morning's European. This is hot off the presses, the 12Z run. There goes that initial system through. Then the secondary system with bigger amounts. Look at that. Some of the Bay Area getting up towards 2 inches here. Some of the Central Coast getting a nice shot here. Northwest California, Sacramento Valley, Cascades, Klamath Range down through the Sierra Nevada. Some nice precipitation totals coming in, and some of this is going to be falling in the form of snow, which we'll look at right now. So let's go ahead and scroll through the first system here. You can see it brings a nice little round here for the Sierra Nevada, and then the secondary system rushes in here as we go through the weekend. So yeah, we have a couple of rounds of snow incoming, and then again maybe another one as we go through the early portion of next week. And one last thing here, taking a look at the drought monitor. Relatively speaking, compared to where we were a couple of years ago, for example, we are not doing too bad. We have had the development of some extreme drought across extreme southeast California up towards Las Vegas and western Arizona here. So hopefully we can start to put a dent in this eventually at some point as we go through this season here. It's been slow going here for Southern California in the meantime, but we'll continue to watch that and break it down day by day. And I'll try to bring you the first signs of life for Southern California as far as precipitation is concerned. But again, watch out for those fire conditions out there, particularly dangerous situation. Hopefully nobody's considering, burning, any outdoor burning or anything like that. And again, be careful with cigarette butts and chains and whatnot, or anything you may have out and about outside your house that can cause any fire activity. So anyway, yeah, we will check back in again tomorrow. We'll go over through the extended forecast as well. Stay safe out there. Watch out for those gusty winds, and we'll talk to you guys later.